this emotional burden. I can barely understand the constant strain on this shaky ground. I struggle and fall, feeling so ashamed of the weakness I carry, the one to be blamed. This internal crisis, a horrible twisted game. It was a sudden collapse, a dramatic disaster. My entire foundation seemed to shatter. I tried to ignore the symptoms that matter, but the mess in my mind just chatters and chatters. This unclear anxiety, this deep depression. I deserve this pain, that's my first impression. A cycle of anger and bitter obsession. But then a brief flash, a signal so bright you didn't hesitate. You offered a light, your calm presence started to assist my fight, and I felt a tiny spark of delight. Let's unite to overcome this massive battle. With mutual respect, we'll break the shackles. At a steady pace, we'll win this war. I will commit to this joint mission, that's what this is for. We will rise again through the storm and the You inspire a desire to behave in a new way. You demonstrate a positive path for me to stay. I acknowledge the improvement I feel today. This bond between us will never decay. It's an absolute certainty, a solid belief that together we can find relief. I suppose I was blind, but currently I see the future holds a possibility for me. I will dedicate my energy to this guarantee and extend my hand for all to see. This is more than a feeling, it's my new reality. This is my decision, my final firm aim to emerge from the shadows and whisper your name. We'll construct a new world, not beholden to fame. This is our story, our victory, our The digital stream flows, a continuous sound. A commercial broadcast on every screen is found. Each channel and blog has a public point of view. They advertise a fantasy they declare is new. The consumer is the victim, the buyer deep in debt. I bet they filter out the facts and hope that we forget. The main agenda driving the administration's art is to occupy your mental space and pull your thoughts apart. Action makes a statement with practice, formal charm, while the economic forecast hints at coming harm. They propose a complex compromise, a plan you must approve. Beneath the polished surface, see the hidden motives move. This controversial policy, a topic for the press, a manufactured conflict to distract from the real mess. The annual document is a mere formality, just a layer of a much more complicated vision. And I'm curious to know, what is the essential proof? This abstract theory, so distant from the truth. It's an obvious pattern, a well-constructed roof. We're living in a narrative they carefully compose. We consume the emotion wherever the story goes. They define our existence with a single careless click. This global network makes our very spirit sick. Our identity becomes a cell they can't control. It's a manufactured hell for the individual soul. I personally refuse to participate in their game. I'll reject their invitation and stand up proud and state my name. They'll accuse you of treason if you dare to disagree with their flawless logic for the rest of the world to see. Their loud announcement is a hollow, empty sound, echoing across the shaky, unstable ground. A historian might comment this is a historic sequence, a technique to govern the majority with cold convenience. But the massive quantity, the rapid, endless race leaves no shelter for the spirit, nowhere to find a space. It's a weird addiction, a cultural disease that brings the strongest person down to their knees. So I'll shut the curtain, take a deep and silent breath, and distinguish between the living and the walking death. Hopefully I'll recover from this electronic trance and grant my recovery a fighting The academic professor gives a lecture on the decline of the eastern county. A familiar tired line. We conduct an analysis, examine every chart, but the legal basis of it all is falling apart. I hate this atmosphere, the stress that they generate. The conclusion is apparent, we must not hesitate. This era of destruction, this environmental waste leaves a bitter aftertaste in this frantic, hurried haste. My career's a daily routine, a monthly log of fear. My income doesn't stretch to cover the rising cost this year. My motivation starts to fade, my confidence is gone. A psychological illness that lingers on adapt to the distance. We try to maintain the link, but the foundation started shifting quicker than we could think. This unlikely arrangement was doomed right from the start. A classical composition for a broken heart. I guess it doesn't bother you the way it all will end. Just another chapter that we can't pretend to mend. There's a considerable gap between what we say and what we feel. This silent treatment makes the tension all too real. I observe your every gesture, I monitor each sigh, hoping for a fragment of the love we can't deny. But your pale expression tells me everything I need to know. It's a plain and simple failure, the end of our little show. This conservative approach to feelings is a crime, as we drag our feet towards the end of our shared time. And the current flows between us, cold and entirely gray. There's none to blame, nor any other way. Eventually the pain will decrease, or so they say. We must cancel this connection, conclude this painful tale. This ship has reached its harbor, caught in a severe gale. It's a settlement of feelings, a financial sort of loss. We have to bear the consequence, and we have to pay the cost. There's no alternative option, no magic to be found. Just the ruin of a love we once thought was so profound. We divide our possessions, a truly sad affair. The artist's paintings, the old worn out chair. This household management, this final bitter duty to strip away the layers of what once had so much beauty. It's a practical process, efficient and so cold. A story that in whispers will rarely now be I urge you to be honest, to tell me whether I was wrong, to invest my total passion in a love that wasn't strong. Was it merely an attraction, a temporary high, a brief excitement underneath the summer sky? Despite all my efforts, I couldn't persuade you to stay. You just fold your hands and quietly walk away. And so the season changes, the final curtain falls. I'll wrap myself in memories within these silent walls. This is a sharp and sudden ending, absolutely no appeal. The loneliness is visible and oh, so very real. In the quiet of the studio, I put my soul into my craft. An ordinary resident on a solitary path. The critic says my work lacks any real quality or scope. And in this state of poverty, it's hard to hold on to hope. My reputation is a whisper, a trace that's hard to find. And I stare at the blank surface, feeling completely flat inside. I've got a dozen letters of rejection in a bin beside the door. I just don't think that I can take this anymore.
And the dealer just talk of the economy. They say there's no demand for this sort of poetry. The expense is far too great, the financial risk is high. It's particularly harsh, and I still wonder why. I should modify my vision if I want to even try to compete against a competitor with a commercial appeal. The pressure to make a compromise is starting to feel real. I need to find a sponsor, some charity or aid. For this flickering ambition starts to completely fade. But somehow with firm determination I resolve to see it through. There's a serious intention in everything I do. This is the exact moment I have to push on past the pain.
There is so much more to gain. I am able to accomplish an extraordinary achievement, to prove to all the doubters and confirm my own belief. This is my contribution, my unique and active part. I will capture their attention, I will master my own art. I'll be a champion in this league, I'll reach the highest rank, and fill this empty vessel, this creative waiting tank.
So I pick up my materials, I begin the preparation to educate the masses with a visual demonstration. This effective combination of color, shape, and sound, a creative compound where true meaning is found. The greatest formula for growth that I have ever found. My progress may be minor, my development so slow, but it's an organic process, the only way I know. I want to quote the few who truly see the deep significance of what this means to me. I assume the responsibility, the duty to create, to challenge the establishment and seal a different fate. This is not a minor incident, it's a historical view, a highly impressive concept that feels entirely new.
I intend to strengthen others and give their strength a lift, and present to the universe this pure and honest gift. So I'll continue forward, I'll definitely survive. My passion is the fuel that keeps my soul alive. My arrival on the stage is coming, it is near. The sound of the boom will be all that you hear.
The southern district at the border, a line drawn in the sand, a broad expanse of agricultural land. My chief function in the army is to defend the civil peace and ensure the frequent violence will eventually reduce. The enemy is faceless, a shadow on the edge. This intense location, a promise and a pledge. The climate here is rough, it makes your muscles tire. This unemployment sets my very soul on fire. They chat about the election, a democratic game. The mayor and the governor sound largely just the same. They appoint a representative with praise and ceremony, but their leadership feels like a bitter irony. They launch a proposal, they publish it in print, but there is an element that makes me stop and squint. This agreement's definition feels like a temporary fix, a combination of their usual politics, and the confusion grows inside me, a heavy iron weight. It's a critical attachment to a future I must create. I am aware that I am guilty just by standing on this ground. My opposition to it doesn't I recall the last encounter, the immediate crash, the bomb that burst in colors in a fiery flash, the injury and damage, the shouting and the fear, a terrible incident that's always ever near. I attend the briefings, take instruction, and I nod. I feel totally empty of fraud before my God. I've seen them distribute a package, some rice and half a pound of coal, as if a minor handout could somehow make them whole. They owe them so much more than this, a substantial guarantee of a future that is stable, to live in safety free. This general neglect is a crime, you see. It hurts their pride and dignity. So I swear when I leave here, I will welcome the release. I will firmly campaign for a permanent peace. I will inform the world about the things that I have seen and the huge extent of damage in between. The lie they tell the public and the brutal truth, and the wasted, stolen innocence of scarred and damaged youth. Above the city from a giant steel tower, he built his empire at its maximum hour. A central figure with a lust to acquire. He never thought he'd undergo such a fire. This industrial model with a remarkable status didn't see the virus that would break his apparatus. He used to laugh from such a dizzying height, now faces uncertainty in the endless night. Endless night. A journalist wrote in a literary journal of the various techniques that were borderline infernal. He would hire and fire, treat people like a device, primarily concerned with his own personal vice. The council gave approval for each new construction, fueling the engine of his constant production. He convinced any judge with a clever twisted phrase, lost inside a golden self-created maze. But a secret can slip a rare whisper in the air, a sudden awareness, a deep and profound snare. This newly formed tendency to question and revise was a truth he couldn't hide behind the lies. He has to settle the score and pay the final cost, a cold reduction of everything he's lost. His relationship with power, a broken fragile wing. He hears the final echoes of the songs a poet used to sing. Used to sing. He must rely on no one and get rid of all his pride, with nowhere left to run and nowhere left to hide. The ad in the paper, a special edition print, offers a discount on his assets, a subtle cruel hint. They'll arrange a meeting, a formal cold session, to formally remove him from his own property. The folk in the pub just point the finger and they stare at the male who had it all, now caught in deep despair. With careful consideration, I judge this a sad case, classic
In the quiet of the laboratory, a lone researcher waits for a discovery that fascinates. A key to unlock the gates. With extreme concentration, he'll measure and record the accurate data that he's worked so hard toward. This profession can be a lonely one, a marathon, not a race. Seeking insight from a series of numbers you can't erase. He has sufficient funding, but there's a limit to the time to constitute the benefit of his design. He makes a connection, a startling new relation, a genetic sequence that could change the whole nation. The implications arise, they complicate the view. This is more than just an object for the morning news review. He must determine the next step. He has to properly engage and bring forth a new chapter, this exciting, scary page. He must warn his department and accompany the report from this tiny, humble port. And the weight of this new knowledge begins to truly affect his soul. A story that is his alone to control. He feels the satisfaction, but also a deep-seated fear. The path from here is anything but clear. This is the introduction to a new and dangerous age. A performance on a global platform, a bright lit stage. It could lead to an infection or be a miracle treatment. One thing is for certain, a firm requirement. He is responsible for where this trail will go. A burden and a blessing, a seed he has to sow. The president of the institute has an application in his hand, a proposal for the government, a plan to expand. He wants to promote the findings, start a mass production line. He sees the currency and profit, a truly tempting sign. The specialist and scholar can barely hide their glee at the endless possibilities for the industry. But the researcher wants to pause, put the entire process on hold. A story of caution that's rarely ever told. There's a moral limitation, a line you shouldn't cross, where the potential benefit is outweighed by the loss. Otherwise the consequence could be an outcome unforeseen, a nightmare substitute for a fascinating dream. So rest for a moment in this northern city's light and try to find the balance between what's wrong and what is right. He must secure the future, he must retain control for the betterment of everyone. That is his final goal. I recommend we take a moment, just briefly if we can, to count the numerous reasons that this marriage didn't pan. The interaction that we had has slightly lost its charm. It doesn't entertain me now or keep me safe from harm. Our love was once a service, a reliable supply, but the stream has run dry and we can no longer lie. I insist we be adults about it, it's the least that we can do. Even though it scares me to be saying this to you, you tend to be the music and deal with the hard facts. And the flow of liquid courage that you drink down from the pot. It's not a healthy habit, it's a battle to be fought. And furthermore, my patience has reached its final stage. It's time for me to get up and to turn a different page. This is not a negotiation or a test to see who'll break. It's a mutual decision for both of our own sake. We have to eliminate the poison, get rid of all the pain before the toxic patterns start to drive us both insane. Our previous connection is a thing now of the past, a beautiful illusion that was never meant to last. The maintenance of this fantasy would surely bore me now. I've learned to love myself again, and I'll make it through somehow. My capacity for sadness has a limit, don't you see? This unhealthy attachment is not the way for me. I'll select a new direction, I'll pick a different trail, and weather any storm that comes with my own sail. I've seen the weather forecast, there's a storm about to hit, but I am fully capable of handling it. I'll grant myself the freedom that I so richly deserve, and preserve my own well-being with every single nerve. I'll lean into the future and let the healing start, with a brand new perspective and a brand new hopeful heart. And so I'll pack my suitcase, I'll grab my favorite boot, I'll walk along the ocean and replan a different route. This is my declaration, my personal command, to build a brand new life in a brand new promised land. Brand new promised land.
Oh, yeah. The city steady motor is a hum I know too well. Working in the retail trade, a story I could tell. My employment is dependent on 100 things a day. The transportation system and the orders on their way. Whenever there's a problem with the late delivery, the emphasis is normally on our efficiency. This regional resort for the wealthy and the free is less than half a mile away, but it feels like a whole world to me. They talk of democracy, they register to vote, then fly off on vacation in their private boat. Their access to assistance is beyond comparison. They have a relative advantage, it's obviously clear. This fortunate minority with their religious zeal can't relate to the struggles that are altogether real. They reserve the best for them, the top of every pile, and never have to walk that extra mile. A feeling starts to mount, a thought begins to stem from this unfair proportion, this broken paradigm. This is the very trigger, the final breaking straw against this unjust regulation, this fundamentally flawed law. We should be equal and be treated equally. That is the term of a true democracy. The gentleman on television gives a presentation on the benefit of immigration for the progress of our nation. But then they glance aside and with a subtle racial slur they undermine the very points that initially occur. This is a common category of political debate designed to stir emotions and to generate some hate. I'm a supporter of the notion that we all deserve a chance, not just a lucky number in a game of circumstance. So I'll continue this examination of the things I see around on this uneven battleground. Moreover, I'll insist on changes that involve us one and all, and wait until the old walls fall. The operation to restore our safety and our pride is a movement that will surely turn the tide. From the upper level penthouse to the basement's lonely pipe, the time for fundamental change is absolutely right.
The city lights surround me, but I'm in my own dark space. A little too much alcohol, a bitter lonely taste. My world's a narrow angle, just the corner of a room. Occasionally I associate with the gathering gloom. I try to read some literature, but the words just seem to bore. I haven't had a proper night of sleep in a week or more. A bunch of empty promises lie scattered on the carpet floor. And tell me the news that changes everything, that you are pregnant and the life that you now bring. I react without a filter, I immediately just stare. 1,000 different feelings hanging in the heavy air. I see the gentle curve of your belly, though it's barely showing yet. A future I had not foreseen, a path is being set. The probability
When I was young, I'd graduate the world a round of applause, a variety of futures with no real time to pause. I thought I knew my preference, which path I'd directly take. But plans can vary sometimes, for goodness gracious sake. The road ahead a gentle slope, or so it seemed to me. But life has other plans, as you will naturally see. I learned that people differ in religion and in sex, from a gay producer to a scholar with specs. This region thrives on tourism, a temporary art. Meanwhile, a friend fights cancer, which tears my world apart. He has to undergo surgery, a challenging occasion. It puts our small anxieties in a radically different situation. Life is not like mathematics with a clear and simple sum. It's more a grand experiment for what we might become. And frequently you stumble, and frequently you fall, but you have to find the strength to rise above it all. Nevertheless, the options are available to choose. A minimum of hope is something you should never lose. We translate our experiences, joy in all the pain, and learn to find the sunshine in the middle of the rain. Plus every single moment is a chance to start anew. It's typically the hard times that will see you through. Whoa. I've pitched a tent beside a rail, I've traveled via van, I've seen the northern lights and walked in a foreign land. The modern world requires equipment, electricity, and plus a server for our data, a thing we all discuss. Life's length is just a measurement, a number on a chart. It's the quality of moments that truly sets a life apart. It can feel like a tournament, a struggle and a hunt, to put on a brave face and to bear the very brunt. It's more than just your skin or the color of your hair. It's the human gene inside you that helps you to bear. It can be hard to not feel embarrassed by a stumble or a fall, but it's just a part of living, and for one and for us all. So I'll keep on moving forward, approximately on track. There is no turning back. This human tournament of life, this wild and crazy ride, with you right by my side. Human tournament of life, this wild and crazy ride, with you right by my
Life is generally a quiet affair, a predictable design. It feels increasingly managed in a perfectly straight line. They broadcast on a frequency that numbs you to the core. An excess of white noise you just file away in storage. Your official registration and your membership are key. They won't permit deviation, not for you and not for me. One mistake per person is the limit they will bear. They ask
that they can't